Subscribe to our YouTube channel and press the bell icon to get the latest updates.
Welcome back to World 360. With the pandemic, I'm sure you've heard of how many countries have come to the realization that China dominates global supply chains. And as a result, these countries are looking at other places to shift their businesses. India has come into the picture as one of the potential destinations for businesses as an alternative to China. But what does it mean when we say China dominates global supply chains? Well, if you look at just this, your smartphone, chances are China played a role in almost every step in how this smartphone was created. The major steps in a smartphone supply chain is raw material extraction, component manufacture, and assembly. The first step involves raw materials such as metals and metal ores, and China, no surprise, is one of the world's largest suppliers for raw materials for electronic products. Now, the other two steps is to transform the raw material into a usable component. Now, these components can range from a circuit board, an antenna, a camera, but most importantly, the mobile chip of a smartphone. Shenzhen, a city in China and a smartphone manufacturing hub for companies like Xiaomi and Huawei, began by creating these chips. There's a really interesting Vox article, in fact, on how this place went from a fishing village to China's Silicon Valley, which I'll share with you in the description. Now, this is why when the pandemic hit, first in China's Wuhan, the global mobile device market took a huge hit. There was a mass disruption to its production lines and stalling of related supply chains caused by labor shortages and inactive logistics. So you can see the ripple effects of what happens when the world's biggest goods exporter encounters a problem. So first, what do you mean when you say a supply chain? A global supply chain refers to the path that most products takes from raw material through manufacturing to final delivery to the end customer. As the world has become more connected and globalized, today's supply chains span thousands of miles and involve many more countries and trading partners. There are various steps in this process, as I've explained with the smartphone process, and these include research and development, product design, manufacture of parts and components, and of course, assembly and distribution. Firms in different countries work together to coordinate these tasks. There's a detailed research paper published in 2019 by Yuking Xing, professor of economics at the National Graduate Institute for Policy Studies in Tokyo, which I'll share with you in the description too. So in this paper, he explains two types of supply chains. One, producer-driven, and two, buyer-driven value chains. Now, producer-driven value chains are led by technology leaders in industries like automobile, aircraft, and computers. So Toyota and Apple would come under this. Buyer-driven chains are more low-key and typically organized by large retailers and branded manufacturers like Walmart. Now, how did China enter the picture? Yuking beautifully explains this, in fact. He says that firms from developing countries generally start with low value-added tasks in the supply chain, such as assembly. China did the same. It started with the assembly of mobile phones for big Western tech companies and has now perfected that critical task for thousands of products and companies. So much so that China is often called the assembly center of the world. What has also helped China, of course, become the manufacturing hub of the world is its overseas trade infrastructure, which has been time-tested. So China basically has efficient and high-capacity ports that can handle large container ships and direct marine liner services connecting major markets. In 2011, in fact, Shanghai overtook Singapore as the busiest port in the world. But how did China overtake countries like Japan and South Korea that are also large manufacturers of labor-intensive goods? Well, Michael Wolff, a global economist at Deloitte, has a theory. that production costs in China were low because production moved from the coastal areas where wages are highest towards inland provinces where wages come at a larger discount. Also, China has seen high productivity gains in sectors of textile, apparel, and footwear. Now, Ben Simpfendorfer, who runs a company called Silk Road Associates, which is involved in geospatial analytics advisory to Fortune 500 multinationals and leading Asia based companies, was quoted in a Financial Times article recently. And he raised a really interesting point. He explained that with the pandemic and the China Plus One strategy, the world is now witnessing supply chain shifts just like the shift of production by Northeast Asian companies from Japan, South Korea, and Taiwan into China in the 1990s. So, are India, Vietnam, Bangladesh, and Taiwan going to replace China's dominance in supply chains? And are they going to do this overnight? Well, according to Simpfendorfer, what happened in the 90s was a 20-year process after that. And what's happening now is likely to be a 20-year process too. So I guess it's only safe to say that time will tell. Thanks for watching. This is Pia Krishnankutty for ThePrint. We'll be back soon with a brand new episode.